Eric, we were talking on the phone a couple of weeks ago when you agreed to do my show, and we talked about the Cornelius Youth Orchestra, and I kept saying Cornelius, 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 and you were going like, no, we're much bigger than that.
Absolutely.
Talk about what is the Cornelius Youth Orchestra?
Absolutely. First of all, thank you so much for having me on. I can't wait to share our organization with your listeners here in the Lake Norman community. I am a transplant, and I have fallen in love with the Lake Norman community myself. The Cornelius Youth Orchestras is a nonprofit serving the community youth here in the area, and with a dual mission statement. Our goal is to provide music education and performing opportunities for community youth, as well as be a community arts ensemble and provide live music and concerts for the community at large. And we have seen incredible growth just this past year. From last season to this, we've actually more than doubled our enrollment. So we are looking forward to our exciting season ahead. You mentioned our service area. We have Cornelius in the name. We're proud to have Cornelius in the name, but we also serve and we pull in students and audience from a demographic of 5 different contiguous counties in the local area. So we have Rowan, Cabarrus, we have Mecklenburg, Lincoln, and I believe Gaston as well.
And talk about the ages. What age range?
Absolutely. So initially, when I came on with my position to the organization in January of 2019, it was primarily a middle school group. And we have expanded that out into all of the broad offerings that we have from elementary age all the way up until pre-college, so graduation for high schoolers.
And when do you have these performances?
We have an increasing number of performances. So this past season, we grew from having 4 different concerts a year to 17 different performances in the community. So our goal, as I said, we serve a dual mission statement. We want to provide education for the kids from our fantastic world-class artistic faculty, but we also want to get our kids performing. They want to perform. That's why they're there with us and a part of our youth orchestra. This coming season, we have, I believe, 5 different concerts already on the calendar on top of the upcoming community engagement events, and that's just the calendar that's been confirmed into December 1st. So our season runs until the end of May. So we're looking to get more concerts and more events on the schedule, and we'll put out more information about that as we have it.
So I am a huge Charlotte orchestra. I love to go to the Charlotte Symphony. I love to go to that. How is this differing from, say, is it a junior version of, say, the Charlotte Symphony?
Well, I would be honored to call it a junior version of the Charlotte Symphony. My colleagues that are on our team, our artistic faculty, are primarily members of the Charlotte Symphony Orchestra. And I like to compare this as I talk to people to share how big of a deal this is. This would be like somebody that plays with the Atlanta Braves coming in and coaching Little League.
Oh, yeah.
This is an opportunity for our community youth to have world-class instruction on day 1 on their instrument. It doesn't matter what instrument you play, as long as it's in the orchestral family, we take you. So our faculty are from the Charlotte Symphony primarily. Such a fantastic group, but they make the trek up here to Lake Norman and work with our kids, and we could not be happier to have them.
And again, how does this vary from, say, the Huff High School band or one of the bands that we have here?
That's a fantastic question. So I'll clear up some verbiage here, some music lingo. So a lot of times in the school system, you have band, which is primarily woodwind and brass instruments, and then you would have orchestra for some of the schools, though the area in North Carolina is underserved when it comes to strings, but orchestra would be referenced as strings only. We are a full orchestra, and so what that means is that we actually combine everybody. So we have the strings, we have the brass, the woodwinds, and percussion. So it's a happy musical mosaic of sound, and we get to bring everybody in. Now, how do we differ from local high schools and middle school bands? Well, what we're doing is we're pulling in students that are motivated, driven, really excited about playing their instrument, and we're taking the cream of the crop from each of those schools and bringing them together and putting them in ensemble with their peers that are equally motivated. And then when you synergize that with connecting them with the faculty that we have, I mean, it's just incredible output.
Eric, I'm probably going to butcher this name, but a young lady that I really enjoy listening to is Lucia Macarelli. Probably just butchered that, violinist.
No, you're fine.
And I just love the violin. The older I get, I know it used to be heavy guitar. It used to be like the Rolling Stones and Fleetwood Mac, and that. But now, the older I get, the more I'm going more classical. But I love listening to violin. This isn't just what you do for a living. You actually you teach violin, right?
Absolutely.
Tell me about.
I am a violinist professionally, and my day job per se is actually I do have a violin lesson studio. We serve the Lake Norman region, but we also have locations down in South Charlotte, in Weddington, and also in Fort Mill in South Carolina.
And when did you start? When did you start playing the violin?
I started playing the violin, and it's a great story that we probably don't have time for. But I started playing the violin from a violin that was salvaged from the school dumpster
Really?
when I was 9 years old. It was given to me as I was going away from school. They were cleaning out lost and found. It got thrown in the dumpster. A school admin saw that I was there, and she said, "That kid wants to play. I remember that." And they went and got it from the dumpster and gave it to me. And to my parents' chagrin, initially, they were like, "You came home from school with what?" And I started practicing, and the rest is history. So it's been a lot of fun. It's been quite the journey.
You play any other instruments?
I do play the piano. I did also, just for pedagogical reasons, play other instruments as well, just to learn how to learn the basics of each one. But primarily, I just play the violin.
Laura, do you play any musical instruments?
I do not.
Okay.
I actually do not sing either. I always wanted to sing. It was something I was really wanted to be good at, and I did try, but I was not that good at it, so it's not on my list of skills for sure.
Is there a particular type of music or an instrument you like the most? Because I was just sharing. I love the violin. I've always loved the flute. I love the piano. Those are my probably top three instruments. Do you have something that you just really enjoy listening to?
Yeah, I do enjoy piano. Could listen to piano all day long. Just
Incredible.
And I really enjoy music actually, period. Just all different kind of genres of music. My children are teenagers, and they know lots and lots of different types of music and older music that they probably shouldn't know, because we listen to all kinds of things in our
Do they
household.
play an instrument?
They do not. My kids are both into sports, and
It's not
kind
too
of
late to learn the violin.
That's right. We'll take you.
Yes, yes. I wish they would. I think it's important. And I
Absolutely.
think the arts in the schools are extremely important. And
Absolutely.
it was something that we kind of lost there for a while. A lot of schools had to end up cutting back, and I'm glad to see that it's come back.
Absolutely. That's actually one of the gaps that we're serving. One of the things that happened during COVID is orchestra and band had to go online. And there's a little bit of, there's this period of an educational gap that we're actually looking to fill. So right now, the 8th and 9th graders in particular had to start their musical instruments on Zoom, which doesn't necessarily sound like a recipe for success, but I'm really glad they pushed through it. Now we get to work with those kids and maybe do some remedial work and get them going where they should be. So as we output into the different colleges around the country, hopefully we'll have compensated for some of that gap there.
Eric, did you get to the symphony this past May when it came to the Kane Arts Center? Center for the Arts?
I was not able to make it to the Kane Center of the Arts, but we did get to go to, in the youth orchestra, our brass ensemble got to play up at Bailey Road Park when the symphony came up for July 4th. End of June, for the fireworks show up there. And we actually got to perform before the symphony, and I did get to enjoy them then. It was incredible.
One of my all-time favorite groups, and I mentioned Fleetwood Mac and Rolling Stones, and yes, I like those too. But my all-time favorite group is Chicago, because I just love the big brass. And the greatest concert I've ever attended in my life was going and listening to Chicago, backed up by the Charlotte Symphony. If you can imagine, you got Chicago, you got all the brass, and behind them is the Charlotte Symphony.
What a combo.
Oh, Eric, that just blew me away, and I'm still shaking about that.
It's incredible.
Have you been to any of the performances at the Kane?
Not yet. I'm looking forward to soon, though.
Do you think that we might see the Cornelius Youth Orchestra at the Kane Center for the Arts?
We would absolutely love that, and we're totally open to talking about that.
Bill, make sure you get Justin Dion, put him on the spot, and we need to have the Cornelius Youth Orchestra booked into the Kane Center for the Arts.
I'd love to have them at Feed and See too, if by chance they'd ever like to sing. Because a lot of, our children don't necessarily know that's a possibility.
Yeah.
So it would be really neat if they could see other kids
That's
doing
actually
something.
one of the things that we do. We try to get our kids out in the community and performing at different local places. And so we would love to have that. That would be incredible.
Great.
Yeah.
We've got about 35 seconds before we go to break. If somebody wanted to reach out to you, how would they do that? Is there a website?
Google us, Cornelius Youth Orchestras. That's going to be the best way to reach us out. And you can find out all the information there. We are still registering for this season. In addition, you can also find all of our concerts right there online on our website. You can get tickets there. Also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, the whole social gambit. We're all there.
8 seconds from break, Bill. Please come back and join us on WSIC Town Talk. We almost got caught there because I didn't hear a 60 or a 30. I was just too engrossed in the conversation going on. Favorite concert, totally off the record. Favorite concert.
Oh my gosh. It's probably Fleetwood Mac, I would say.
Oh yeah. Okay.
You know, a lot of that kind of
And the whole band was Christine McVie and
Yeah,
also Lindsey
yeah.
Buckingham, because he's been in and out. Now he's out.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay, the lineup. So this was
Yeah.
probably the when they came about 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. Okay, Eric.
I come from a classical background, so the San Francisco Symphony, where I grew up, going to various concerts from a young age there. Some of my earliest memories watching performances. I mean, I couldn't replace that for sure.
And I got to tell you, I've gotten older, and so now I'm into Bocelli as well. So
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
hearing Andre come out, and which I never really thought I would be a Bocelli fan. And the first time my girlfriend invited me, I was going, yeah, I don't really want to go to that. And then I listened. I was just blown away.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff he did. Chamber of Commerce. Today we had a ribbon cutting at U.S. Bank, and that was a fantastic outing, welcoming a new bank. And Bill, I was listening this morning to the word of the day, so see if I got this right. U.S. Bank's expansion into Lake Norman is a real harbinger into the healthy business growth of our dynamic region. I hope I did that one well. Harbinger was the word of the day. So, again, it was a fantastic experience. Anytime you welcome a business into our community, but recognizing a bank that's going to be injecting capital back into our small business community is really, really good. We're going to talk about some other things related to your particular organizations. Leadership Lake Norman cranks out tomorrow. It's going to be our first day. Chamber of Commerce. Leadership Lake Norman is taking off. And then we've got Junior Leadership Lake Norman that is going to be taking place. And we've got the juniors I think it's October 5th is going to be their retreat. Bill, we've got about 20 seconds before we go from our digital audience. And those of you joining us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube, thank you for staying with us on Town Talk and listening to us chat a little bit about our experiences with concerts and Chamber of Commerce activities. Okay, and how far are we from coming back on live? Okay, 10 seconds. All right.
Your host, Lake Norman Chamber President Bill Russell on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
And welcome back to Town Talk. I'm your host, Bill Russell, President of Lake Norman Chamber of Commerce. I have Eric Boruff. He's the music director and president of the board of directors for the Cornelius Youth Orchestra. And Laura Ingram, who is the executive director of Feed NC. And we have Daniel on the line. Daniel, I think you have a question for Eric.
Yes, Bill. It's good to hear you. I was looking at my iPad and saw you WSIC Town Talk on, and I got a quick question for Eric.
Go for it.
Is the orchestra still going to be at Sound of the Highlands on September 30th?
You know, that is a fantastic question, and thank you so much for bringing it up. A week from Saturday, we are having our season kickoff fundraiser gala, the Sound of the Highlands. We're going to be partnering with Rural Hill to put on that event, and we will be performing live for all of the patrons who join us this evening. You can go to our website, Google us, Cornelius Youth Orchestras, and you can get your tickets there.
Bill on the boards told me it was Daniel. This is Commissioner Dan Boone, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Were you being incognito, Daniel? You about threw me, but I heard that voice. I'm going like, that's not Daniel, that's Dan.
Thank you for the plug, Dan.
Apologize. I'm definitely not
Dan, we had a new business. We had a new business opening up today, U.S. Bank in Huntersville. It's got to make you excited to see a new business. And then we recognized Jason Colvin earlier in the show. I don't know if you joined us where we talked about the two state championship teams. Question, you were the one that kind of encouraged Jason to come to the town board, and he talked about the needs of having more fields. Talk a little bit about what the town's going to be doing to facilitate maybe getting more resources together for our recreational uses.
Well, Bill, I wouldn't expect to answer a question like that. But Bailey Road, the county owns that, and the town of Huntersville runs the parks there through our Park and Recs department. But I would like to see the county and the town remaster that extra 100 to 200 acres and bring in a really Class A softball, Little League baseball facility where they have 4 satellite fields and 1 championship field, because the people in Huntersville, Cornelius, and Davison, if they want to play in any big tournaments, they got to go to Wilson, North Carolina. And Wilson's a great town, but, if you're not playing baseball, you're just eating barbecue.
Yeah.
And I think we can add a lot more to there. But sports is where it's at, and I'm glad that Jason brought his little leaguers up there to be recognized.
Well, Dan, I want to thank you for encouraging Jason to bring that, because sometimes you go to a town board meeting and it can get contentious, and you've got these public hearings and things. And when you bring and you put 60 kids or whatever was in the room the other night, I guess it was 35, 40 kids in the room, it just changes the whole tenure of the room, didn't it?
Well, we've all been to those weddings where the one party didn't like the other party. That's what the town hall board meeting started like. And then these kids come in, and this is what Huntersville's all about. I mean, the skies opened up. I was so proud of those folks. And then they left, and we went into our usual business.
Well, Dan, thank you very much for joining us, and thank you for the question to Eric.
Okay, Eric, I'll see you Saturday at the 30th.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it, Dan.
Laura, we're going to kick it back to you real quickly. How do you get the volunteers that you do have at Feed-In-See? How do you get them?
A lot of it is by word of mouth. Somebody comes in and has a really good experience, and then they invite their neighbors or their church members to come back with them. We also have a lot of great youth, teenagers. A lot of teenagers in our community do give back regularly. They have hours that they want to do for school and to achieve their goals. So we have great teenagers in the building all the time. And then we also do have really wonderful corporate groups who come out every day. We've had almost every day since we moved. We've had a different corporate group in the building. And so they might just spend one day. It's a give back kind of day. They'll spend one day with us. But then a different department. We'll have a different department from Lowe's corporate come out often, or a train. Ingersoll Rand, lots of wonderful businesses in our community that send people regularly. So that's typically how we find people, and we do have it on the website so that it's easy to find if somebody's out there trying to find a place to volunteer.
Eric, same question to you, but I tell you, when you said that you have some of the people from the Charlotte Symphony working with the kids, but where do you get your volunteers?
That's a great question. A lot of our volunteers are primarily parents that we ask to get involved, but increasingly in the last 6 months or so, we've seen some partnerships with Kiwanis as well as Rotary and a couple other community organizations where we do have some volunteers coming in and helping us out with different endeavors that we have, whether it be grants or putting on different concerts. We need ushers that can help us out with that. I think the Boy Scouts, the local troop, helped us out there. So we're very happy to have that help from them.
Eric, how long have you been president of the board?
I joined the board in December of 2018 and right at the turn of the new year, so January of 2019. I assumed both roles at the same time.
What is your vision, or what is the board's vision for the Cornelius Youth Orchestra?
That's a great question. One of the things that we'd like to do is we'd like to radically scale our reach and how the demographic that we serve. So initially, like I said, we mainly serve middle schoolers. Now we're serving elementary all the way to high school. And I did speak briefly about our auditioned ensembles that are for high-end, really motivated kids. But I would be remiss if I did not mention that we have a whole, and it's actually, there's more programming now on the educational side of things, but there's a whole branch of our organization is serving kids that have no experience whatsoever. Come see us if you do not have any experience, day one on your instrument, and come learn from somebody who graduated from Juilliard.
I'm going to ask you. I feel good. Tell me one really good story that you've got of maybe a child that got in there that just blew you away, or you go like, I am so glad that I'm working with this organization.
Absolutely. I'm going to tell you two, just
Okay.
because. The first one, we started a new beginner program just last year, and the trumpet class, specific to trumpets, the principal trumpet of the Charlotte Symphony comes up and works with that, Alex Wilborn, big credit to him. A student that had never played the trumpet before, by the end of that semester, was the principal trumpet in their middle school. The second is our principal horn in the symphony itself, our youth orchestra, also got to perform with Upper Carolina over the summer because of the connection there with our faculty. And so going from playing in a youth ensemble to playing professionally, we're happy to facilitate all of that. We're so happy to serve our community in that way.
Laura, again, I've served on a lot of different boards. I'm in the Kiwanis Club. I'm in the Rotary Club. I've been on the board of Habitat, been on the board of United Way, Ada Jenkins Center. And when you're on like the Habitat board and you see a family, sometimes it's a single parent family that are able to own their first home. And watch them, the smile they have on their face as they have the keys in their hand, the kids on their, right beside them. It just makes you feel so good. Is there one story that just comes to mind with you, that a family you helped or an individual you helped at Feed North Carolina?
Yeah, I might have two too, but I'll be quick.
Sure, no, go ahead.
One of my favorites was one afternoon. It was about 4 o'clock. And by 4 o'clock, most of our food is gone. We sort of go through a lot of food a day. And we had a single dad who walked in the front door, and it was his daughter's birthday. And he just said, I don't have a cake. I don't have cupcakes. I'm responsible for this. And unbelievably, there is the only cake sitting there on the shelf with her name on it. Literally said happy birthday to his daughter. So we don't forget things like that, that clearly was bigger than any of us, standing in that building that day. And then we also have a graduate of our culinary program, graduated, had never been employed, and has now been employed at Davidson College in their food services for 3 years. She's had 2 promotions, doing incredibly well, has health benefits. So every time we see a person who, gets back on their feet, truly has a good job, they will no longer need our services, which she doesn't.
As the president of the Chamber of Commerce, I carry out the wishes of my board of directors. So it's not my vision, it's the board's vision. But we all have, as executive directors, as presidents of the chambers, president of a board, where we want to see our organization go. What is your vision as the executive director of Feed NC?
Yeah, we'd like to continue to do more. We strive every day to do more, serve more people, meet more needs. Specifically, with the workforce development program, we'd like to double and triple the size of the number of students that we have in our program, for sure. Again, the more people that graduate, the more people who are gainfully employed in our community. And then one of my favorite aspects of Feed NC is that people come together around food. If you think about every holiday you've ever had, every family event, people come together around a table. And so we feel like we can be a big part of that in our community, bringing different kinds of people together. Those relationships happen beautifully and organically in our building every day. So I hope that the vision is that we continue to bring different kinds of people together.
We've only got a couple of minutes. What can the community do to support Feed NC?
We absolutely need volunteers. Also appreciate anything that anyone can eat and can be delivered to us Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. And we do always need financial support as well. It's a substantial sized operation at this point to meet the needs of the community.
And the best source of information, website,
Yes.
is
feednc.org.
feednc.org. And Eric, what can the community do to support what the Cornelius Youth Orchestra is doing?
3 things. First, come to a concert.
Oh, yes.
Come to our concert. Enjoy what we have to offer. Enjoy the fantastic talent of our kids and see them at doing what they do best. The second thing, we do need volunteer help as well. It seems like that's you hear the nonprofits say that a lot, but we do need some volunteers. And so if you would like to reach out and help us out in that regard, contact us. Go to our website. You can Google us, Cornelius Youth Orchestras, find our phone number and our email address there. You can reach out. We also do need financial support. Feel free to reach out on our website as well for that.
Eric, I have not been to a performance of the Cornelius Youth
Consider
Orchestra.
yourself invited.
I am absolutely going to be there if you'll make sure that I get the schedule. And
Absolutely.
I can't thank you enough, Laura, for what you do out there to make our community a great place to work and live throughout our region. Thank both of you. It's just I really appreciate what you're doing out there for our community.
Thank you so much for
Thank
having us
you.
on.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely. If it's Wednesday afternoon, we're talking about our towns on Town Talk, WSIC. I'm Bill Russell, and we'll see you next week. Thank you for joining us.